sound. So come to standing. I'll try and remember various requirements. Lift and roll the shoulders. Lift the feet. Bring the hands to the heart centre. And then just open the hands out. Roll the wrists. Bring the fingers back together. Drop the fingers, bend them slightly, and then open to your lotus flower. And then just roll the wrists. Coming out, roll them again. Lotus flower. And then just bring the wrists to roll them in, outwards, roll them the other way. Lotus flower. And then just release the hands. Lift and roll one shoulder, and lift and roll the other shoulder. And lift and roll both shoulders. And then breathing in, turn the head to the left. And stay here for an in and an out breath. And when you're ready, bring the head back to the centre. And then breathing out, just gently turn the head to the right. For an in and an out breath. And then come to the centre. And breathing in, raise the right arm. Drop your hand, bending the elbow, and just cradle the head in your hand, chin to chest. Just turn the head to the side and just come to a lateral stretch. Breathing in, come back to the centre, and breathing out, lower the right arm. And then breathing in, raise the left arm. Drop the hand, cradle the head in your hand, chin to chest, and then just come over to the right side, just holding your right thigh with your right hand. And then breathing in, come to centre, breathe, and then lower the hand. Lift and roll the shoulders. And bringing the hands to the heart centre, soften the knees and circle the hands up. We'll do a few rounds of this. Clasp and reverse the hands upwards. Just slightly to one side, it doesn't matter which way you go. Come to the centre and slightly to the other side. Come to the centre. Just slightly turn to one side. Come to the centre and turn to the other side. And come to the centre. Lower the arms and lift and roll the shoulders. Hands on the waist. Breathing in, just lift the heels, testing balance today. And then with the heels still lifted, try dropping the heels so that they're a nanomillimetre off the ground, so that the weight goes into the heels. And then drop the heels when you're ready. And just carry on to bend the knees fractionally, as little or as much as you want. It puts your abdominal control on. Maybe looking at the floor so that you're not straining the neck. And then breathing in, come to standing. And then release the arms. Slide the hands down to the shins. Breathing in, half lift. Breathing out, just slightly curl in. Breathing in, half lift. And stay here as you breathe out. Breathing in, press the feet down and roll up vertebra by vertebra to standing. Lift and roll the shoulders, and then this very familiar movement of clasping the hands behind the back, lifting the chest. And you might like to let your eyes drift up to the top of the head. If your neck can cope with it, then just gently lift your chin. You're opening the shoulders, opening across the heart. And then just bring the head to upright. Release the hands and just circle the wrists up. Stretch out, looking up again if your neck will take that. And then just circle the wrists down. Lift and roll the shoulders. And again, hands together at the heart center. Soften the knees and circle the arms up. Really stretch. Then clasp the hands in reverse. And once more, slightly to one side. Come to the center, stretch up, and slightly to the other side. Come to the center, stretching up, and slightly turn. Come to the center, and then as you breathe out, slightly turn to the other side, just feeling your way, no sudden movement. And then come to the center. And again, just drop the hands, lift and roll the shoulders. Hands on the waist, and just take a couple of breaths, breathing in through the nose and out through the mouth. And then very gently, when you're ready, let the breath go. Just lift your heels, trying your balance again. And lower the heels. And just soften the knees, putting the abdominal control on. And then coming back up to standing. And this time, we're going to lift and roll the shoulders, but just holding either the wrists or somewhere along the forearms, or somewhere almost towards the elbows. And again, this opens the chest. You've got the option, which I think is harder, so it is optional, to subtly lift the arms away from you. I possibly prefer to keep my hands and arms where they are, because it allows me to open the elbows a little bit better. So just to be comfortable. And then just very gently turn to the left, looking over the left shoulder. And then come to the centre and turn to the right to look over the right shoulder. And then come to the centre. Release the hands, lift and roll the shoulders. And then finishing by just stretching the hands up. Thumbs behind, little fingers in front. And then just circle the wrists down once more. Lift and roll the shoulders. And then another focus on balance. So come to one end of the mat. I like to have my feet like a duck's almost out. I can't go with my feet straight, but if you can, then very well done. Put one foot in front of the other, and in order to keep your balance, you might need to have your hands out. And then just very gently put the other foot in front. You can do all kinds of variations of swaying from side to side, but you might want to keep it simple. And then just reminding ourselves
it's so easy.
Walking a tightrope might not have been our thing. And so in order to try and keep balance, you've got to really spread your feet. And yes. And then just drop the hands and come back to the mat. Feet a little bit apart. It's just a very simple reminder. I'm not great at standing on one leg, and I know this has been very reported repeatedly. I don't know if you've got a view on this, Sarah, standing on one leg for longevity.
Yeah, I saw it in the paper the other day.
Well, I think any balance is going to help with your longevity and health into your old age. So.
Oh dear. Well, I've never been good, to be fair. I don't know. What can you say, really?
Practice in the garden on some sort of bench.
Yes.
It's practice while you're cleaning your teeth. Standing.
Yeah, that's what you're supposed to.
do.
Yeah, and it's even harder if you close your eyes. It's,
I
it's even
can't
harder.
do it. It's impossible. I can stand on one leg with my eyes open, with eyes closed. Absolutely not.
It's not funny.
It can last about 1 second before I fall over.
Yes.
And you lose your sight for your balance.
Yes.
There are many ways to balance, but I sometimes think when people start off with a full-on balance, it's very unnerving when you wobble all over the place and then you get stressed. So it's possibly easier to have a simple balance where you've got both feet on the ground and you either lift your heels or you put one foot in front of the other one. Because if you're getting stressed about balance, then that's no good at all.
I think as well, if you tell yourself before you do it that you're not going to do it,
Yes.
you probably can't.
And then the other thing is that when people do the tree, they have a tendency to put all the weight onto the standing leg, and then the leg bows out and it's not balanced at the hip. They put pressure on, and they're not aware that they do it because it's a perfect standing posture, but then they put strain on their hips.
What's
you can
the tree?
The tree, yes, well done.
What's the tree? Is it? It's movement.
So just lift your shoulders.
Like
And
this.
when you go like this,
Right.
in order to get the balance, they kind of, you see I'm slightly bowing. Well done, Charlotte. Wow, you can do that. That's amazing.
With my eyes shut though.
Anyway, it can go
That's the
into,
tree.
yes, that you can go into putting weight on your
Yeah, it
hip.
does. You can feel it.
So you've got to be very careful, and in order to avoid that, you've got to really stand up straight and engage and try not to put the weight, otherwise you're putting your hip out, which is a very little highlighted, yes, I can do it, but I've got to hold on. You can see I'm putting the balance into my hip more.
You need to sort of go right the way through the floor, don't you?
Yes,
You have to go from top to bottom through the floor.
so that's right, you've got to stand up.
Yeah, keep
And-
the core
And
engaged.
the core engaged, and then
Yeah.
so that's wonderful when you're young and 20 and perfectly balanced. But if you're starting to be a bit older, great if you can do it. As Sarah's giving us a wonderful demonstration there.
There we go.
Well done.
Yes.
So then,
Okay.
just once more, lifting and rolling the shoulders, and just again coming to hands together at the heart centre. As we come to half salute to the sun, soften the knees, circle the hands up, stretch, palms together, and bring the hands through the heart centre as you soften the knees. Come to place the hands on the shins. Half lift. As you breathe in, and then breathing out, soften the knees, soften the elbows. When you're ready, half lift. And then breathing out, stay where you are. And then breathing in, press the feet down and roll up vertebra by vertebra. The head, of course, is the last thing to come up. Breathing in, raising the arms up, looking either straight ahead or up. And then breathing out, head upright if you've raised it, and lowering the arms. Lift and roll one shoulder, lift and roll the other shoulder. Just connect the fingertips to the collarbone and breathing in, hands out. Breathing out, hands. Just a couple of times to your own breath pattern. You might find that you drop your chin to your chest as you breathe out and bring the hands back to the collarbone, but that's optional. So this is a shoulder exercise, but it also becomes a mindfulness exercise and a breath exercise as well. And there's your shoulders stiff. And then just drop the hands, lift and roll the shoulder, then lift and roll the other shoulder. And just open the shoulder in a different way, hug, coming forward and just very gently opening a slightly different part of the shoulder. Does that feel better? Does that feel right?
Yeah.
And then just open the arms and coming with the other arm on top to hug. And then just dropping the hands. Hands on the waist, feet hip width apart. And just do a hula hoop. Swirling your hips in one direction. Just moving all the energy around the lower abdominal area. You can swirl a little bit or just do the nearest little circle. So in this pose, which is the beginnings of belly dancing, you're supposed to just let it all hang out and relax the tummy and then just swirl the other way. So I'm sure I said ballerinas find this terribly difficult because they've got such control over their tummy, they just can't let it all hang out and let it all go, and then just very gently come to stand still, drop the hands, and then hands together. We're going to come to a seated position. So for those of you who don't like sitting in a cross-leg position, then sit with your legs out. If you can come to a cross-leg position, then that's absolutely fine. And I thought today we would have a little focus on the eyes. So the eyes connect also to the element of fire, which is the same as the digestion system, which also connects to the element of fire. And in fact, in Eastern terms, the two areas are related. So if you've got digestive problems, often your eyesight goes, which a consultant from my dad confirmed, which was interesting. So just coming to be comfortable, keep your head still and just raise your eyes up, almost to your 12 o'clock. So eyes up disconnects the eyes from the stress centres of the brain, so this again becomes a mindfulness exercise. But now we come properly into the eye exercises as you keep your head still and drop your eyes downwards towards 6 o'clock. Come back to the centre of your clock and keeping your head still again, try to look to your right, to your 3 o'clock. Come back to the centre and then look to your 9 o'clock. Come back to the centre. Look to 10 past the hour. Come through the centre and look to 20 to the hour. Come back to the centre and then look at 10 to the hour and then come through the centre and look at 20 past the hour and come to the centre. Look up to your 12 o'clock and very smoothly, like the second hand of a watch, go round clockwise and notice where your eyes jump. Your head is still, so your eyes have got to do the work. I've jumped around 20 past, 25 past. And then, once you get back to 12, finally go around anti-clockwise. Bring your eyes back to the centre and then just to soothe the eyes, rub the hands together and just place the hands, warmed hands over your closed eyes. It's called palming, quite soothing. And then open the eyes into the darkness of the hands. And then just remove the hands and come back to where you are. And then just, if you were or are cross-legged, stretch your legs out, bouncing and rubbing the legs, tapping, patting. And then just soften the knees and come into Baddha Konasana. So I don't know if Sue has any thoughts for the day, or if you want to ask Sue anything on a
Well, we
little.
do the eye reflex point, shall we?
Oh, right, the eye
Yes, so
reflex.
exciting. I haven't done that for a while.
Right.
So the eye reflex is between your big toe and the second toe.
Right.
If you just pull your finger down, right down to the point where the toes sort of join in the middle, and then press down, and that's the eye reflex point. So obviously the left side for the left eye, and the right side for the right eye. So if you've got eye problems or whatever, it might feel quite tender and sore in there, or whatever. But that's the reflex point mainly for your eye. In fact, I got something in my eye this morning. No, I did have. I wasn't sure I was going to be able to come because I couldn't see properly. It's better now. But suddenly doing that thing, it made it sore again. You know, doing
Oh,
the,
okay.
yeah. So it's interesting because we haven't done that for a while. So maybe that's what I should do. Yeah. In fact, it hurts a bit in there now.
Yes,
My
that's
eye.
it.
Yeah. So I was just brushing my hair. Maybe my hair flicked in or something. I thought, oh
Yes,
God,
okay.
you know, it hurts, doesn't it? But in fact, I'm just pressing both reflex points there of left and right, and my left one is more tender. And it's my left eye that's a bit sore this morning. So yeah.
Where's the prostate as well, as it's a very relevant subject?
I'm going to have to think about that
On
one.
the reflex point, on the reflex point.
Oh, yes, I'm going to be showing you anatomically. That's a very rough one. Hopefully not, anyway. You never know these days, do you?
No, women can have a prostate.
I could be.
Yes, have a penis and a prostate.
As men can have a womb.
I could have one in a former life, couldn't I? Let me think about it. I'm not sure. I'm going to have to. I'll come back to me on that. Let me have a think. Because it's quite a small area, and I'm trying to think where it would be.
Okay.
Apparently Paul McCartney does eye exercises.
Does he?
When he was at Glastonbury, somebody said that Paul does his eye moving exercises round. Because someone said he looked so young.
It serves him well. He was brilliant, wasn't he? Yes.
He does lots of yoga.
Okay.
But the eye one, that's his first thing when he wakes up in the morning.
That's
Right,
interesting.
the prostate is very roughly, it's very hard to pinpoint because you can't see me really. It's in the bladder is just down in this area, so it's sort of where your heel meets, where your instep comes down, it's sort of roughly around that point there. So it's on both feet, that would be roughly the prostate area. Because your bladder's... yes, down from there, nearly on the bottom of your foot.
Yeah.
Just on the sort of side there. Yeah.
Right.
Roughly in that area.
Right, yeah. Great. Okay.
So he loves that area. It'd be interesting to see if it's tender.
Yeah.
Yes, it might well be. Yeah.
Yes. Right.
So do you need help to just? You've got it, or
We won't feel tender on you, do you?
No.
Something else in
No,
there.
we'll wear it.
So, like, did you need help?
sorry.
Help
Oh,
to
you
sort of like,
took me,
yes,
right.
to get a settlement right.
That general area. It's a very specific point because obviously it's just a small thing on your foot. But
Where's
it's
the
just
ankle bone start?
the ankle
down.
bone. Ankle bone is your lower lymphatic system. So if you think where your lower lymphatic system is, it's in your groin here.
Yeah.
So if you relate that on your foot to then where the prostate is further back in, so it's further mid-centre to the
And from
foot.
this side?
Yes, just
not
under.
outside.
No, on the inside. Yes, but on your towards your foot.
More
Sorry,
into
yeah,
the heel.
Yes, on sort of this
Oh, okay.
this area here.
Oh,
Okay.
Yeah, a
Yeah.
bit lower, yeah.
Yeah.
It's over there.
That's
Okay.
okay. This is lower lymphatic system. So if you think about anatomically
it's
where
right.
that is, it ties in
Yes.
with the position on the body.
So would the ovaries be slightly higher than that?
Yes. I
Slightly
think
higher
this is,
there.
this is, there's such it's very specific, but it's very hard to, that's why I don't do specific little things, because it's too hard to show exactly where the
The
positioning is.
general area.
It's, yes, if you think of the roughly like where your stomach is, so your ovaries are down underneath that area in the abdomen under there, so it's further down
Okay.
towards the heel of
The knee.
with your foot here, bottom or the top
Okay.
bit of your heel, just there.
It's not really
So,
Mm.
so leaving the feet, thank you. And Sarah, this comes back to you. We're going to come on to the lower back if you're there. Not sure if you are.
Just fall asleep there.
She's glad we've got bored. So
a
come,
little interval.
come on to the lower back. Let's come onto your back, knees bent, feet hip apart. And again, we're just going to start with coming to a few breaths, your own breath pattern, breathing in through the nose and out through the mouth. And then just a couple of pelvic tilts, so palms down, flattening the back as if you're going to lift it, and then just moving the other way. So your own breath pattern and a couple of times, just to bring the nearest movement to the lower spine. And particularly as we haven't done any cat cow, this is just a very simple way to bring movement into the spine at the lower level. Then just let that go. And keep your right leg where it is, maybe adjust it to feel comfortable. And just gently hug your left knee into the chest. Just check that your chin is not shooting up to the ceiling, that the back of your neck is nice, it's got space. And just circle the left knee a couple of times while you are holding it in one direction. Your circle can be very small or it can be wider. I'm holding my knee with both hands, but if you wanted a particular wide circle, you could just hold your left knee with your left hand, drop your right hand to the waist, and that lets the left knee open out more. If you're particularly worried about hips or want to focus on the hips. But otherwise, just hold the knee with both hands. And then circle the knee in the opposite direction. Either holding the knee with both hands, making a smaller circle, or holding the knee just with the left hand and making a wider circle. And then just come to hug the knee in to the chest, and your knee might just come in a little bit closer as the muscles relax. You're opening up and giving space at the lower back. So coming back to a sore back, this is, or should be, starting to be quite helpful. And and then very gently supporting the left leg under the left thigh. Just very, very gently raise the left leg to the ceiling and circle the left ankle a couple of times in one direction. Your left knee doesn't have to be straight, it can be subtly soft or bent. And then circle the left ankle in the opposite direction. And then just open the toes, spread them, and then just relax them. Bend the left knee in towards the chest, and then still supporting it, place the left foot on the floor. Hands down, palms down on the floor, and just gently sway the knees from side to side. You're going to lift the hips off the ground, and it's just massaging across your lower back for a little bit. And then humming to bring the knees back to the centre, keeping the left foot where it is, but please adjust it if you need to. And then hugging the right knee very gently into the chest. And then when you're ready, start to circle the right knee a few times in one direction. And again, you've got the choice of holding the knee with two hands, or if you want a wider circle, let the right knee drop out to the right. Just connect your left hand to the left hip bone, and then just circle your right knee, and you'll find that your circles will be wider. But again, if you want to stick to a smaller circle because it feels nicer, or you've got both hands supporting your leg, then hold the right knee with just your right hand. And then when you're ready, choose your circle of choice in the other direction, circling it. So the hips also come in, of course, to the lower back, they're very connected. And then just coming to hug the right knee into the chest. Drop the hands to your underneath your right thigh, clasping them to support the right leg. And then very gently raise the right leg up to the ceiling. You can keep your knee bent and begin to circle the right ankle a few times in one direction. And then a few times in the opposite direction. And then just stretch the toes out, and then just release and relax them. And when you're ready, hug the right knee into the chest. Let the left knee join it so that you're hugging both knees into the chest. And this time circle both knees. So both knees are coming in, and then both knees are going away from you and circling outwards. You're going to reverse the direction when you're ready. So to reverse, both knees hugging in, go outwards, and then they circle and meet at the top. But whatever works for you is fine. So again, you're creating space at the lower abdominal level, at the lower back as well. I should say you're creating space at the lower back level, and creating moving energy in the lower abdominal level would be more accurate. And then just supporting the right leg if you need to place the right foot on the floor. Hugging the left knee into the chest. And in your own breath pattern, hug the left knee into the chest. And then breathing in, let it drift away to arm's length. Hug the left knee into the chest with both hands and let it drift away to arm's length. And just take that a few times in your own breath pattern. Very gently supporting, when you're ready, your left leg to place the left foot on the floor. Palms down before we come to the right side, and just very gently sway the knees once more from side to side, and your head might join in. It doesn't matter if the knees go in the same direction as the head or away from it. Normally in yoga you would have the knees in the opposite direction, but here it really doesn't matter. And then just bring the knees back to the centre, and in your own time hugging the right knee into the chest. And then just in your own breath, breathing in, let the right knee drift away to arm's length, and hugging the right knee into the chest. Just taking your time. And then keep the right knee hugged into the chest. And bring the left knee to join it, so both knees are hugged in. You can separate the knees if you need to. Just be comfortable. Hug both knees into the chest. Let both knees drift away to arm's length. Both knees hugging in. Now to your own breath pattern. Should be massaging up and down the lower back. Very soothing for the lower back. And then holding both knees, make little circles with both knees moving in the same direction. So you're just making little circles around the base of the spine almost. And again, how big you want to make the circles is up to you. You can, the bigger they are, the more they go onto the bottom, the buttock area, and that might be quite soothing. Just make little tiny circles. And your head might join in with the circle as well. And then just very gently circle in the opposite direction. And then just very gently hugging both knees in, just come to rock gently from side to side. Do you almost lift your hips off the ground and come onto the back of the upper arm, one side, and then rock to the other side. So this very classic somatic movement, deeply soothing for the body, but particularly for the lower back, and it should be very nice for sore backs. And then very gently come to the centre, support the legs underneath to place one foot and then the other foot back down onto the mat. You can keep your knees bent, or you can just have your feet out to the edge of the mat and the knees just touching together. A constructive rest for the next focus, which is going to be around the third eye. So just above the eyes, we come back to the feel of the eye. Take, it doesn't matter which hand, but take the pads of the fingers of one hand and just then very, very gently circle around the centre of the forehead, that dip in the centre of the forehead. So you're circling around the third eye. And it doesn't matter which way you start to circle, because the invitation will be there to change circles. So the third eye is very connected to the eyes. It's, of course, slightly above them, but it connects into our centre of knowledge, intuition. Just very, very gently circle the pads of the fingers in the opposite direction. And then just take the fingertips to the edge of the forehead, and this always go, it doesn't matter which side, but always go the same direction. Just trace lightly the fingertips across the whole of the forehead, from one side of the head, the temple, and off at the other side. And just gently pick your fingers up and start again. Just very gently tracing across the forehead, across the third eye, and off at the other temple. A couple more times in your own breath pattern. And then make the next one the last one. And just come to place one hand on the abdomen and one hand, I would say at the heart centre, maybe as we're lying down just below the heart centre, to rest the elbows on the ground. Digressing slightly, we mentioned indigestion. So if ever you've got indigestion, lying like this, again, the back is supported, but you're not stretching your tummy, you're stretching the front, but you're not crunching it up. So you might feel quite nice just to aid digestion if you, for whatever reason. And then just take a moment to have a thought for the day, your sankalpa. Just think that a couple of times. And let that thought go. And then just very gently cleansing, so bring your attention to the base of the nostrils, breathing in to a point that you imagine to be in the centre of your head. And as you breathe out, the breath, imagining it travelling down inside you, and it picks up and takes away with it anything that's not serving you today, either a pain or a niggle or a thought. It's cleansing your entire body, and it leaves through the soles of the feet, goes back to the earth. And a couple of breaths in your own time, bringing your attention to the base of the nostrils, breathing in to a point in the centre of the forehead, and then breathing out like a transparent air, picking up anything that's not serving you today, and it takes it out, cleanses thoughts and mind, body, through to the soles of the feet. A couple of breaths in your own time. And then just choose a colour, any colour that resonates with you today. And just wrap that colour like a bubble around you, conferring protection for the day ahead. So that only positive things can come in. And just connect to where the parts of the body are that are lying on the ground. Coming back to sounds, both inside and outside. And come once more to bend one knee and then the other knee into the chest, just gently rocking from side to side. And you can choose to stay like this. I'm going to come to a seated position to read you cards for the day. So you can choose to stay on the mat, just rocking or relaxing while I read the cards, or you can choose to come to a seated position, in which case you might like to roll to the side, but come to a seated position however that works for you. But take your time. Just connect the hands to the forehead, so kind thoughts, the hands to the lips, kind words, and hands to the heart, kind deeds.